Roman Reigns just betrayed Jon Moxley and exposed him as CM Punk's attacker in the most brutal way possible. The Tribal Chief just destroyed what should have been wrestling's greatest reunion by throwing Jon Moxley under the bus and revealing him as the mystery man who nearly ended CM Punk's career. And what Roman did to expose his own Shield brother proves that the head of the table will sacrifice anyone and everyone to protect his position at the top of WWE. Roman didn't just reveal Moxley's identity as the attacker on SmackDown. He provided video evidence, explained Moxley's motivations, and positioned himself as the innocent party while his former brother becomes the most hated man in wrestling for what he did to CM Punk. Before I break down every shocking moment of Roman's betrayal and expose why Moxley attacking Punk makes this the most personal and dangerous feud in WWE right now, answer me this: is Roman Reigns a genius for exposing Moxley before the secret could be used against him, or is he a coward who betrayed his Shield brother to save his own skin? Drop your answer in the comments, because what Roman just did to Jon Moxley is either strategic brilliance or the most dishonorable backstab in wrestling history, and there's no middle ground. The context for this revelation makes Roman's betrayal even more calculated and cruel, given that Jon Moxley had only recently returned to WWE after years away from the company. Mox's comeback was supposed to be triumphant, with fans excited to see what the former Dean Ambrose could accomplish now that he'd proven himself as a main event talent in other promotions and developed into one of wrestling's most credible tough guys. But instead of being positioned for a heroic run, Moxley finds himself exposed as the person responsible for one of the most vicious attacks in recent WWE history, the assault on CM Punk that left him hospitalized and questioning whether he could continue his career. The whiplash from Moxley's return excitement to being revealed as a villain happened so fast that fans are still processing what it means for his character and his relationship with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns opened SmackDown with a promo that seemed initially focused on his continued dominance as undisputed WWE champion and his plans for upcoming challengers. The Tribal Chief was in vintage form, exuding confidence and control as he addressed the crowd and reminded everyone why he's been the company's top star for years. But then Roman's tone shifted, becoming darker and more serious as he transitioned into discussing the mystery man who'd been attacking wrestlers throughout WWE for months. Roman claimed he'd conducted his own investigation using bloodline resources and connections, and that he'd finally discovered the truth about who was behind the mask and why they'd been targeting specific superstars. The setup felt ominous, with Paul Heyman standing nervously beside Roman as if the Wiseman knew something terrible was about to be revealed. Quick question for you: when Roman started talking about exposing the mystery man, who did you think he was going to name? Comment your prediction, because I bet most of you didn't see Jon Moxley coming. Roman's revelation was delivered with cold precision, designed to maximize damage to Moxley's reputation and standing within WWE. The mystery man who attacked CM Punk at Survivor Series, who put him in the hospital, who tried to end his career, that person is someone many of you welcomed back with open arms just weeks ago. That person is Jon Moxley. Dean Ambrose. My former Shield brother who came back to WWE pretending he wanted to prove himself and rebuild his legacy, when really he came back to settle old scores and destroy people he has grudges against. Mox attacked Punk because of their history in AEW, because of backstage issues that followed him from that failed company into WWE, because he's bitter and jealous and couldn't stand seeing Punk succeed where he struggled. The accusation was devastating not just because it named Moxley, but because Roman framed the attack as stemming from personal weakness and jealousy rather than any legitimate grievance or strategic reasoning. The video evidence Roman presented removed any possibility of Moxley denying involvement or claiming Roman was lying to frame him. The footage showed Jon Moxley in various backstage locations at Survivor Series, timing that matched when the mystery man was preparing for the attack on Punk. Additional video captured Moxley entering a restricted area carrying the same duffel bag that the mystery attacker was seen with before emerging in the hooded disguise. Most damning was enhanced footage from the actual attack that showed identifying characteristics visible despite the hood: a specific tattoo on Moxley's forearm, the distinctive way he throws punches, and body language that matched Mox's fighting style perfectly. The evidence was comprehensive and undeniable, leaving no room for Moxley to claim innocence or for fans to believe Roman was fabricating the accusation. Do you think video evidence like this proves guilt beyond doubt, or could someone have been framed with carefully edited footage? Share your perspective in the comments section. Paul Heyman's visible discomfort during Roman's revelation suggested the Wiseman either didn't know this information was coming or disagreed with Roman's decision to expose Moxley publicly. Heyman kept glancing toward the entrance ramp as if expecting Moxley to interrupt at any moment, and his usual smooth demeanor was replaced with nervous energy that made him seem genuinely concerned about the fallout from what Roman was doing. When Roman finished presenting his evidence and turned to Heyman asking for confirmation, the Wiseman hesitated before reluctantly nodding that the evidence appeared legitimate. That moment of hesitation spoke volumes about potential cracks in Roman and Heyman's relationship and suggested that exposing Moxley might have consequences Roman hasn't fully considered. The explanation Roman provided for why Moxley attacked CM Punk added layers of personal animosity that transformed this from a random assault into a deeply emotional feud rooted in real issues. According to Roman, Moxley and Punk had unresolved conflicts from their time together in AEW, including backstage altercations that were never properly addressed and resentments that festered over time. Roman claimed that Moxley blamed Punk for various problems in AEW, viewing Punk as a toxic presence who created drama and division that damaged the company Moxley had helped build. When both men ended up back in WWE, Moxley saw an opportunity to settle those scores violently and definitively, attacking Punk in a way that would potentially end his rival's career while Moxley was disguised and apparently safe from consequences. Can you remember specific reports about Moxley and Punk having issues in AEW? Comment what you know, because their real-life relationship adds legitimate tension to this storyline. CM Punk's response to learning Jon Moxley was his attacker came via video from his home where he's still recovering from injuries sustained in the assault. Punk looked genuinely shocked and hurt by the revelation, his reaction suggesting either incredible acting or real feelings about being attacked by someone he once considered a brother from their Shield days. Jon Moxley. Mox. Dean. Whatever you're calling yourself now. I defended you when people criticized you. I supported your decisions to leave WWE and pursue opportunities elsewhere. I thought we had mutual respect despite whatever disagreements happened in AEW, but you tried to end my career. You attacked me from behind like a coward. You targeted my surgically repaired knee that you knew was vulnerable, and you did it all while hiding behind a mask because you didn't have the guts to face me like a man. Roman, exposing you is the best thing that could have happened because now I know exactly who my enemy is, and I promise you that when I'm cleared to return, I'm coming for you with everything I have. The fan reaction to Moxley being exposed as Punk's attacker has been intensely divided and created toxic arguments across social media platforms. Moxley's loyal fans argue that Roman is framing him, that the evidence could be fabricated or manipulated, and that the tribal chief is using Mox as a scapegoat to deflect attention from his own bloodline's actions. Punk's supporters are furious at Moxley and demanding he face severe consequences including suspension, fines, and potentially being stripped of any championship opportunities. A third group of fans is frustrated with both men and tired of backstage drama and real-life issues being incorporated into WWE storylines when they just want to enjoy wrestling without worrying about which parts are real and which are worked. What's your position in this debate? Team Moxley, Team Punk, or sick of both? Let me know in the comments. The Shield dynamics became incredibly complicated with Roman exposing Moxley as a criminal attacker while Seth Rollins remained conspicuously silent about the entire situation. Seth's lack of public comment suggests either he's conflicted about choosing sides between his two brothers, or he knows information about the situation that he's not ready to reveal yet. The possibility that Seth was also involved in some capacity or that he helped Roman gather evidence against Moxley adds potential for future storyline development and another layer of Shield betrayal to an already complex web of alliances and rivalries. The three Shield members being positioned against each other rather than as a unified force represents a missed opportunity for a powerful reunion, but it also creates rich dramatic potential if WWE can navigate the complicated character motivations and relationships effectively. Jon Moxley's first appearance after being exposed came later in the same SmackDown episode, and his response was defiant rather than apologetic or defensive. Mox walked to the ring looking more dangerous than ever, grabbed a microphone, and delivered one of the most intense promos of his career. Roman thinks he exposed me? Roman thinks he revealed some secret I was trying to hide? I'm not hiding anymore. Yeah, I attacked CM Punk. Yeah, I targeted his knee specifically to cause maximum damage. Yeah, I did it with premeditation and planning because Punk deserved everything he got and more. You want to know why? Because Phil Brooks is a cancer wherever he goes. He destroyed AEW's locker room with his ego and his inability to work with anyone who doesn't worship him. He came to WWE acting like he's changed, like he's learned and grown, but he's the same toxic presence he's always been. I did WWE a favor by taking him out before he could poison this locker room the way he poisoned AEW. Do you think Moxley's justification for attacking Punk makes sense from his character's perspective, or is WWE asking us to accept something that contradicts what we know about both men? Share your analysis in the comments. The moral complexity of this storyline creates fascinating debate about whether Moxley's actions can be justified if his assessment of Punk as a toxic presence is accurate. Wrestling fans have long memories of Punk's controversial exits from promotions and his reputation for being difficult to work with, so Moxley's characterization of Punk as someone who creates problems wherever he goes has some basis in wrestling history and public perception. But even if Punk is difficult, does that justify a brutal physical attack that caused legitimate injuries? The storyline forces viewers to wrestle with questions about vigilante justice, proportional response, and whether the ends justify the means when dealing with someone perceived as a threat to locker room harmony. Roman Reigns' motivations for exposing Moxley rather than protecting his Shield brother or staying neutral create additional intrigue about what the tribal chief actually gains from this revelation. One interpretation is that Roman genuinely disapproved of Moxley's attack and felt morally obligated to expose the truth regardless of personal relationships. A more cynical interpretation is that Roman recognized Moxley as a potential threat to his own position and used the Punk attack as an opportunity to turn the locker room and fanbase against Mox before they could potentially ally against Roman. A third possibility is that Roman is playing multiple sides, exposing Moxley publicly while secretly maintaining their alliance privately, using the appearance of betrayal to position both men advantageously for future storylines. Each interpretation changes how we view Roman's character and his strategic thinking. The backstage fallout from this situation has reportedly created significant tension throughout WWE's roster, with wrestlers taking sides and forming alliances based on whether they support Moxley's actions, sympathize with Punk, or trust Roman's version of events. The political divisions this creates could fuel storylines for months as different factions emerge supporting different perspectives on what happened and what consequences should follow. WWE has an opportunity to use this situation to create compelling faction warfare that goes beyond typical heel versus babyface dynamics into more nuanced territory where multiple groups have legitimate grievances and defensible positions. The legal implications if Moxley actually attacked Punk in the manner described could be severe, with potential criminal charges for assault and civil liability for damages. WWE walking the line between presenting this as serious assault that should have real-world consequences versus treating it as just another wrestling angle creates the blurred reality that generates interest but also risks trivializing actual violence. How WWE handles the consequences Moxley faces will reveal whether they're trying to tell a serious story about accountability or whether this is just another example of wrestlers doing whatever they want without meaningful repercussions as long as it generates ratings. The match that inevitably comes from this situation, presumably Moxley vs. Punk in some kind of grudge match or violent stipulation, has the potential to be one of WWE's most intense and personal encounters in years. Both men are capable of incredible in-ring work and both have the ability to make physical confrontations feel genuine and dangerous. The key will be whether WWE builds to the match properly rather than rushing it, whether they allow proper recovery time for Punk's storyline injuries so the match doesn't feel premature, and whether the eventual payoff satisfies viewers who've invested in this story emotionally and want to see appropriate consequences for Moxley's actions. So here's my final question, and this one really matters: was Roman Reigns right to expose Jon Moxley as CM Punk's attacker, or did he betray his Shield brother and violate the loyalty that's supposed to define their relationship? And regardless of whether Roman was right or wrong, do you want to see Moxley punished and defeated for what he did, or do you find yourself sympathizing with his motivation and hoping he succeeds in his vendetta against Punk? Get in those comments right now and share your honest take, because this situation has no clear good guys or bad guys, just complicated people making questionable decisions, and that's exactly the kind of wrestling storytelling that creates the most passionate debates.